Moving to the Philippines is not something that should be done on a whim. It takes planning. It takes thought. Some people even think it takes a lot of guts. Anyway, class is in session, and today we're going to look at the 4 things you need to consider when deciding whether to move to the Philippines. Number 1, the test run. Before moving permanently to the Philippines, I and many others who came before me suggest taking an exploratory trip. You can watch all the travel vlogs out there, but nothing beats a boots on the ground experience. Tourists from the US, Canada, Australia, the UK, and many other countries enjoy a great deal by getting to stay 30 days visa-free upon arrival. And by this July, that could be expanded to 59 days under an immigration modernization bill that's working its way through the Senate right now. It's a perfect time to taste the Philippines' delicious menu of beaches, waterfalls, mountains, and jungles, all there for your enjoyment. The point is, the test visit helps you determine if the Philippines is right for you and find the part of the country that best meets your lifestyle preferences. Number 2, the decision process. Okay, so your test run went well and you're back on your homeland soil. It's now time to ask yourself some hard questions. You need to honestly assess if anything is holding you back. It's time to answer a few questions now. Number 1, what is the status of my family? In my case, I had no brothers or sisters and I was divorced. My children had their own lives and never called or visited. My parents had passed. Like many of us, you may be wanting a new start. But if you have solid relationships with family members, this is the time to have a heart-to-heart with them. Number 2, do you have a job you can do remotely from the Philippines or another source of income? An absolute recipe for disaster is moving to the Philippines without a source of income. Even if you have a healthy savings account balance, be prepared to watch it disappear rapidly unless you have some sort of steady income. I did not even consider a permanent move until I was drawing my Social Security. But there are cases of expats begging on the streets to survive. Don't be that guy. Number 3, what are you going to do with all your stuff? We all tend to collect stuff throughout our lives. I tend to be a sentimental hoarder. Boxes of old pictures and little mementos of my 67 years in America take up a significant portion of my little storage unit back in Missouri, costing me $40 per month. That's even after throwing away and giving away mountains of stuff. Will I ever go back and visit my stuff? Yes, I will. One last time before I either toss it out or send a few remaining items back to the Philippines in what is called a balikbayan box. Then that $40 per month charge will be history. A few people on the other end of the spectrum choose to ship vehicles and all their household furniture in large shipping containers. But that's just not worth it in my opinion. Number 4, what should I do with my large assets, such as my house? Well, that was an easy decision in my case. My residence back in America was on the business property that I had put up for sale. On the closing date, I was ready to bail. Others might want to rent their home out to others, But unless you have an excellent property manager that you can trust, being an absentee landlord is not the path I would choose. I prefer to sleep well at night. Number 3, preparing for a smooth transition. You are going to be 8,000 miles from your bank, and getting your mail forwarded is not as simple as submitting a change of address card. So you have some work ahead of you. First, make sure you have a valid passport. If it has less than 6 months left before its expiration date, you likely will not be allowed to enter the country. And if you must renew your passport, give the U.S. Passport Center plenty of time to process your request. Since international travel has bounced back to near normal levels, they are experiencing a backlog. If you don't have someone back home you can trust to handle all your mail, you might want to also explore any of a number of virtual mailbox services. These services set you up with an address and box number, and whenever a piece of mail arrives for you, the service sends you an online notice with a picture of the outside of the envelope. Once you see that, you can then determine if you want to discard it or request that they scan the contents so you can deal with the matter. Finally, you can even request a piece of mail be shredded for your peace of mind. The cost is minimal. My account with iPostal costs only $9.99 per month, but the scans cost me about $2.50 each. To keep those mail costs down, I made sure I set up my credit card and bank accounts online to minimize the actual mail volume and costs. Speaking of banking, I chose to keep my U.S. bank account because it refunds any ATM fees, and I believe it is safer than keeping my money in a Philippines bank. Some choose to get a Charles Schwab account. I really don't know much about that, to be honest with you. I'm not sure of all the ins and outs. But I can tell you that my method is pretty simple. Every month when I receive my Social Security in my American bank account, I use a remittance company to send myself whatever money I need in cash. There are a bunch of those companies out there. I use Remitly, but there's World Remit, Wise, Zoom, that's spelled Xoom, Western Union, and probably dozens of others on the internet. Their fees vary, but if you transfer $1,000 to $2,000 once per month, the cost is not all that much. I pay $4.99 to transfer money to myself for personal pickup, and they shave a peso or two off your exchange rate for their profit. Eventually, I hope to get a Philippines bank account. What you have to do is show your passport, show your alien certificate of registration that you obtained about 2 months into your stay, and show mail that you have received at your address in your name. But keep in mind that if you use only a Philippines bank account, you won't have the good old FDIC to bail you out in a crisis. Yes, accounts are insured in the Philippines, but only to 500,000 pesos. That's only about 8,900 US dollars. Remember that international phone calling can be expensive as well. An internet-based phone service like Magic App or Google Voice can help you keep in contact with those back at home. My Magic App cost me $3.99 per month, although I personally don't use it very much other than to maintain a US number. Here in my city, almost everyone uses Facebook Messenger for voice and video calls anyway. Finally, make sure you are entering the Philippines with a clean bill of health. For those of us 65 years or older, Medicare in the US is a great thing. Use it while you can. Get those health checkups before you leave, because Medicare does not work in the Philippines, and also because medical care is not at the same level here. While doctors and dentists charge far less, it might be a case of you get what you pay for. The World Health Organization ranks the United States 30th in the world in healthcare, while the Philippines ranks 89th. And remember that once you get over here, be prepared to put cash on the barrelhead if you're ever hospitalized. They don't bill you later, and I have heard stories of patients not being allowed to leave until someone pays the bill. So, your options are to have the savings to self insure, carry a credit card with plenty of room on it, or find health insurance once you get here. Number 4, let's get packing. If you have followed the advice to minimize your belongings, you might want to carry that minimalistic habit into your packing. The Philippines is a tropical country. Forget the jackets, sweaters, and sweatshirts. T-shirts, shorts, and flip-flops are the style. For a more formal event, maybe bring a polo shirt. It might be the only collared shirt you will ever need. If you are meeting that Filipina you've been corresponding with, save a little room in your luggage for some good old U.S. chocolate. She will love you for it. Obviously, you need to bring cash. The upper limit that customs will let you bring into the country is $10,000. That is more than enough to hit the ground running. I came here with only a fraction of that in my pocket. Many expats suggest renting a short-term Airbnb or even a hotel room for just a few days as you search for a really nice rental. With far less than $10,000, you can furnish your new rental and have plenty of money left over. Obviously, you need to bring your passport, ID, and go ahead and bring your cell phone. You will be well advised to get a Philippines SIM card and load once you arrive at your destination. If you can, book your airline ticket with the airline several months before your trip. Avoid the third-party booking sites. Both myself and a friend of mine have horror stories of dealing with one company in particular. Okay, the test run was successful. The decisions have been made. Your plan is in place, and you have all your bases covered. Now get your butt on that plane and ride to paradise. Class is dismissed. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, comment, and above all, subscribe. Thank you.